if everyone was wearing their mask. So I just want to remember and remind people. There are several instances that household members have never turned positive because they are successfully making sure they have their mask and disinfecting after their positive family member. But every family is different. Every situation is different. But we will try to problem solve as those come up. Not everything is the most ideal at all times, but we will try to do our best. If the Winnebago Public Health Department is missing something, especially for our quarantine or isolation people, please don't hesitate to let our staff know when they're checking on you. If you need groceries, you need an alternative resources, please let us know. Also, if you do have a positive test and we call you, we're not judging you when we do the contact tracing, but we need to know. In order to isolate the spread, we have to try and quarantine as many as your contacts as possible during that window. And it might seem embarrassing at times, but we're only trying to stop the virus in its tracks, and we need your help. And also, just because you test negative during your quarantine time doesn't mean you get out early. It means that at that point, you're negative. And we sure hope that you stay that way. But there's always that possibility that you could convert to being a positive. And that is why you're in quarantine for 14 days, regardless of whether you ever have a positive test. We also want to remind people that regardless of whether you're positive or negative, treat your symptoms, wear your mask, and disinfect. I also want to remind people to please check out our Facebook page. We have a lot of events and activities coming up for the kids, and so those will all be posted on that site. And so I will start now with the community updates. So for Nebraska, the total tests have been 267,177. The total negatives have been 241,471. Positives were 25,422, which resulted in 324 deaths. Here in Winnebago, we have tested 554 people. 462 of those have been negative, 91 have been positive, and out of those, 77 have recovered. We have 3 deaths and 1 pending test. Those that have come to the 12 Clans Unity Hospital and tested that are non-Winnebago community members, we have 458 tests, 378 been negative, 77 positives, and 3 pending tests as of today. So some of the updates, we want to make sure their symptom-based criteria is discontinuing the isolation has changed. So one of the major changes has been that before you would have to have be without a fever for 72 hours without fever-reducing medications. The CDC has changed that. As of last week, we reported that it's down to 24 hours. You also would still be in isolation 10 days after the symptoms started. All other symptoms have to be improving. And for those that remain asymptomatic throughout this whole period, we do 10 days from the date of their first positive COVID test. So people who have tested positive for COVID and recovered have been removed from isolation, but you could still test potentially up to 3 months later positive. It takes a while to convert back to a negative. If a previously positive person is identified as a close contact of a new COVID exposure within 3 months of the symptoms of their recent illness, they do not need to be quarantined or retested for COVID. However, if a patient or if a person is identified as a contact of a new case 3 months or more after the symptom onsets, then they will be recommended for quarantine or isolation depending on the circumstances. So we're excited to have some new equipment in the dental clinic, and I'm sure Dr. Monif would love to give everybody a sneak peek of this. So the new device that's been installed is called Airgyle Disinfectant Medical Device Air Purifier. Basically, it looks like this big little elephant's trunk that goes over the face of the person, and it sucks up all of those aerosol airborne while you're getting your dental procedure. It removes most of the chemicals and the harmful compounds with about 99.9 efficiency, which is extraordinary. It is a patented, it's a UV light. It does not mean that, you are taking in all this UV radiation or anything like that. It also sterilizes the air with their air exchange. So we're very excited to have that. And believe me, Dr. Monif is very excited. So I believe I will turn this over to Joe, the Director of Nursing for the 12 Clans Unity Hospital, and he will finish the presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, guys. My thoughts are also with everybody that's currently mourning the loss of a loved one. It's unfortunate that we do have to go through that at points in our life, and it's definitely unfortunate at this point in time. So real quick updates on COVID-19 testing here. It is available to anyone who wants one, but we do need you to make an appointment. You can call the outpatient clinic at 878-3404 to set that up. You don't have to have symptoms, but you will be asked during that appointment, and that's to help us facilitate just tracking symptomatic spread and to help the health department when they're calling you for their follow-ups. This test, kind of what Mona said earlier, will only show if you currently have traces of the SARS-CoV or COVID infection. It's a snapshot in time. It's not, you could be exposed after leaving and develop it later. If you are exposed to somebody that is COVID positive, we do recommend that you wait 5 to 7 days after that exposure before you get tested, if that is your concern. The reason for that is if you get tested too early, you may end up with that false negative and need to be retested. So we want to try and avoid that, both for your comfort and for the safety of the people around you. Currently, we're able to test a little bit over 20 people a day between those hours of 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. Those spots do fill up, but please do call and make that appointment if you're wanting to have this test done. Kind of as I said, it's open whether you have symptoms or not, whether you've had an exposure that you know of or not, you're still eligible to come in and get that test if you desire it. Patients right now, with the way that the lab is running, we're going to notify you guys within 2 to 4 days of that test. We have been getting some back earlier, but that is not routine enough for us to make a promise of being able to get those test results back to you sooner. You'll be called by either one of our nurses or one of our providers to follow up on that test as a general rule before Mona and the public health team begin calling you. It is possible to test negative for COVID-19 and then test positive later. This can happen if you're exposed to COVID-19 after the test, or if you're tested too soon after. Because of this, it's important to keep an eye on your symptoms, and if you are symptomatic, to isolate yourself, wear that mask when you're in public just to help prevent the spread. And other exciting news here at the hospital is we have recently kind of been in line for a UV disinfection robot that we're going to be able to use here at the hospital to disinfect our treatment rooms, our ED, and our inpatient rooms as we see patients. This particular robot uses high energy burst of UVC light that helps destroy viruses and bacteria. It is very effective at cleaning the room, not quite to the point of sterilization, but definitely disinfects it. It's quick, it's effective, and it does operate at at all the different wavelengths that have been identified to be needed to get rid of the spores and the bacteria and the viruses that are generally harmful to people. We're in the process of naming this robot. There's going to be more information coming up on Facebook here for the community to vote on what we're going to call it here when we're utilizing it. So we'll have more details on that to come later. And another addition to our hospital are going to be another way to help break that contagious chain, and that's going to be on our shoes. It's one of the dirtiest places. We all hear about that. That's why many people take their shoes off before walking around inside of their house. So this is going to use much the same technology as the robot uses. I apologize, guys. It's going to use much the same technology that the robot uses to sterilize the rooms, only this is going to be focused on your shoes. We're working with the environmental services team. We're trying to figure out places to put these that they're not a trip hazard, but they're still usable. It'll help us prevent people from unknowingly carrying around those hazards and those germs with you as you're walking around. Just help kind of clean things up just a little bit.
Thanks, Joe. I think that concludes WCHS's portion of the presentation. So up next will be Esther from the Winnebago CEO.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska, I would like to thank you for joining us today. Before we begin the tribe's portion of the update, I would like to express my condolences to those families that lost a loved one this past week. Our thoughts and prayers are with all those who are in mourning at this time. I would also like to take a moment to congratulate all of the graduates of both Little Priest Tribal College and the Winnebago Public School, and any others who recently completed their graduation requirements. It is a tremendous accomplishment, and you should be proud of achieving your educational goals. The tribe will be resuming in-office coverage of tribal departments on Monday, August 3rd. Visitors to our building will be screened prior to entering the buildings. While we are striving to attain full coverage of the departments, the staff will still be working through a combination of in-office and teleworking. We ask that the community be patient with us as we transition into this next phase of continuing operations during the COVID-19 pandemic. We again ask that the community use alternative means whenever possible to contact departments such as email or phone calls in lieu of face-to-face contact. We will continue to monitor the COVID-19 rates of infection within the Winnebago and surrounding areas to determine what our next steps will be as far as resumption of tribal operations. Some updates from our departments. From our communications and IT department, tribal members who are approved for the Winnebago CARES Act Utilities and Housing Assistance Program and have not picked up your laptop, you have until August 7th to do so. After that, the remaining laptops will be redistributed to local Winnebago service areas in Dakota, Thurston, and Woodbury counties. Please contact the tribe's IT department for further details. From our enrollment office, any person wishing to enroll themselves or their children must submit a new application at the enrollment office, even if you've submitted one before. All clothing forms must be mailed back to the office. Forms that are dropped off will not be accepted. Cards are being mailed out daily as the applications are processed. If you need to come into the enrollment office to speak with the staff, please call and make an appointment before coming into the office, even if you just need to pick up a form or drop off an enrollment application. IDs are being done daily, but are done by appointment only. If you are late for your appointment by more than 10 minutes, you will need to reschedule. Thank you for all of your continued patience as they begin to deal with this influx of enrollment applications and clothing card applications. From the tribal court. The tribal court is now in full operation with court hearings being scheduled each week. The court office is not 100% accessible to the public yet. Doors will only be open for those who have scheduled court hearings. For individuals not scheduled for court but would like to attend, approval needs to be requested from the judge, and if space is available in the courtroom, you may be granted access. The child support office is open and staff are available Monday through Friday by client appointment only. Please call ahead to schedule a time to meet with staff. Masks are required for all visitors and staff within the tribal court building. COVID screenings and thermometer checks will be completed upon entrance into the building. For more information, please call the tribal court at 402-878-2570. That concludes this week's update from the Winnebago tribe. Please continue to adhere to all social distancing guidelines as set forth by the CDC and Tribal Health Department. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Esther, for that update. And now we're going to turn our attention to the Winnebago Public School, Dan Farringer. Dan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I express my condolences to the family in mourning. And due to this family in mourning, we do appreciate them giving us permission to change the venue of our graduation. We went out and offered our gift, and they agreed to allow us to change the venue. Graduation will take place tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the competition gym at the public school. After consultation with the health department, each senior was allowed to invite up to 12 guests. Health safety measures will be followed. Masks, face shields will be required. Tomorrow's graduation will be live streamed on the school's Facebook page for those that are not able to attend because of restrictions. It will be saved on the Facebook and the school's YouTube channel. On the graduation, only those on the graduation list will be permitted. Thank you for that. The school board will meet on Monday, August 3rd to approve the school calendar. It was agreed upon at our meeting last week. It was a non-action meeting that school will start on September 8th for the students. Parents will have the choice of virtual or in person. Right now, we've contacted most of the students in our school district. I think we have 55 to 60 left to contact, and it's about 60% in person, 30% virtual, and 10% undecided at this time. We are in the process of developing a virtual tour of the school and what a day will look like here. That will come out toward the end of next week. Physicals are required for all incoming kindergarten students, incoming 7th grade students, any new student coming from out of state, and any freshman wishing to participate in activities, athletics. Incoming 8th graders, sophomores, juniors, or seniors who participated last year are exempt from needing a physical. Any student who did not participate last year and wishes to participate this year must receive a physical. Parents, we also encourage you to start having your students, if you're going to have your students come to in person, to start wearing their masks for certain periods of the day, so they will be used to that when they come in. They will be required, some type of face protection will be required when school starts. We continue to follow the health safety measures, disinfect everything daily. So we will continue to follow all those, and we just need everyone, as Mona said earlier, to continue to wear their mask on the outside if possible, because it really does help for all to stay safe. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dan. Now we're going to turn our attention to Little Priest Tribal College. President Patel.
Good afternoon, everybody. Before get started, just want to again, I want to share our deepest condolences to the family who are in mourning, and we also thank them for giving permission to Little Priest Tribal College to conduct our 23rd commencement ceremony. I also want to apologize for missing last week's YouTube live session. I was not well. That was the week 19, so I want to apologize to the community. Well, today was a pretty historic day for Little Priest Tribal College to the Winnebago tribe of Nebraska. First time we conducted our virtual commencement ceremony. Personally, it was a pretty big deal for me because it was my first time me being the president of the college and conducting this. Too many people to thank, but I would start with I want to thank our commencement speaker, Janelle Smith. I want to thank our board of trustees who are worked tirelessly to make this happen. I want to thank our graduation commencement ceremony team who pulled off an excellent, heartwarming ceremony today. At the end of the day, I want to take this opportunity to thank and congratulate our Little Priest Tribal College graduates. What they accomplished during this period of time was unheard of. They pulled it off, and we are delighted. We are proud of you, and we wish you the very best in your next steps. Please note, now you are officially Little Priest Tribal College alumni, and we welcome you back to the college at any time. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Winnebago Public School graduates. The ceremony is held tomorrow, so we wish the school officials, Dan and Cheryl Birrell, the very best. Also, thank you for giving us and thank you for allowing us to use your facilities to our graduation ceremony. We'll be posting the YouTube live clip for the graduation ceremony as well on Facebook and website. Now, on to the fall 2020 semester update. The classes start on August 24th. As you all know, it's completely online. But I just want to take this opportunity to kind of share a few things I've learned over my stay at Little Priest. I request all the students who are planning to register for the classes not to wait till the last minute, especially this semester as it is completely online. You know, getting the textbooks, getting your laptop, getting your technology ready will take time. We want to make sure that you're armed from the day one. You're ready to go from the day one. We want to have a successful semester, and we need your support. And college is going to back you up in every step of the way. So I'm requesting anybody thinking to register for the class to act and register for the classes. We have several job openings at Little Priest Tribal College. So we request the community to visit littlepriest.edu and visit and apply for any positions that may suit. Again, as I said, it's been a historical day for all of us, and just wanted to thank the Tribal Council, the Pandemic Task Force, the Winnebago Comprehensive Health System, the Board of Trustees, our employees, faculty, staff, students, to make this graduation a successful one. So thank you. God bless.
Thank you, President. And do we have a representative from Winnebago on? Okay. If not, we'll go over to Sam Burrish from HoChunk Incorporated. Sam.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Garen. First, we'd like to offer condolences to the mourners For our community update, we have upcoming changes for the Sweetwater Cafe location in Winnebago. The plan is to extend the hours starting August 17th to 4 p.m. We will also start limited dine-in seating at the same time. Currently, hours are limited with carry-out service only. This will give us time to make sure we're following all health and safety guidelines and order disposable utensils and plates. Again, we're planning for that Sweetwater Cafe change to take effect on August 17th. We'd like to congratulate the community's high school and college graduates. Today was also the last day of our summer internship program, and interns made their final presentations to executives and supervisors over Zoom. This year we had 9 interns at various locations in and around Winnebago and 3 interns that reported to our office in Virginia. We thank each and every one of them for their flexibility and willingness to learn and grow alongside us through these extraordinary circumstances. And we're grateful for their efforts and contributions to the company and the community. So understandably, the end of the program is always a bittersweet day for us, but we know this group of interns will continue making a difference personally and professionally. Those are the updates I have for today. Again, thank you for your time, and I'll turn things over to Brian with HCCDC.
Thanks, Sam, and good afternoon, everyone. This morning we had our weekly farm to family food distribution out of the Village Market facility in HoChunk Village. It's 240 boxes again, along with supplemental bags of flour, honey, jam, beans, some specialty soap, some really nice stuff. And it went quick. Today we were done by like 9:45, so it all went in about an hour and a half after the truck brought it. So we'll keep doing this at least through the end of August. So on Friday mornings, to make sure you get down there, close to 8 o'clock is the best time to get there because we've just gotten stuff unloaded, and it happens fast. People line up in their cars and come around there. We have masks and gloves, so it's a safe distribution. So I hope people keep taking advantage of that really good product. It's available free of charge and through that easy distribution that's made possible with assistance from HCI ambassadors and some of the HCCDC staff and other people from the community that are helping with that. So thanks for that. That'll go at least through the end of August, and we'll expect to hear more from the distributor about whether their contract to bring those produce boxes will be extended any further than that. We'll let the community know as soon as we find out final information about anything beyond the end of August. I also wanted to just mention to people in the community a little bit about some of the there's a tremendous amount of construction going on right now, and people might not be aware, but a lot of that is related to the tribe's pandemic response and their efforts to put different types of housing options in place to use for isolation and quarantine for different specialty populations. So when you've probably seen, there's been a lot of construction, a lot of activities, in addition to the roundabout that's going in on the highway up by the school and the 40 acres of expansion of HoChunk Village. There's also these specific quarantine and isolation related projects that the tribe has supported through their COVID funding. And that includes upgrades to powwow grounds, which will then make it possible for some quarantine housing to happen out there through some trailer campers that are being purchased. There will be showers and a septic tank and water supply and all that stuff, electricity out there that will be expanded and increase that. You've probably seen they're blacktopping the road out to and beyond the powwow grounds to make it easier for access for emergency vehicles or for when people are possibly quarantined out there. There will be a women's shelter that is being that will be upgraded and installed. Halfway house, that was some of that is funded from some COVID funding that came through for the tribe. That's also going to be under construction, as well as 3 triplexes out in Thunder Way development for veterans, and an additional road paving out in Thunder Way so that we can add at least 2 more single family homes out there just to create more opportunities for housing to help people separate, isolate, quarantine if that becomes necessary. So this is all going to be happening over the next 3 or 4 months, all these projects. So the lots of community and tribal partners are working to coordinate those efforts so that it all happens timely and in the right sequence for everything. So if you see a lot of that going on in the community, that's what that all is. And so it's exciting, but it's kind of been a hidden piece of the COVID response that the tribe and the community partners have been engaged in. So I just wanted to let people know that that stuff was going on in case they wondered what all of this flurry of activity was that's happening. That's really all I've got. Week 20 this week. We've been at this for a while. We're getting kind of good at it as a community, but I do hope that this is something that we're able to transition out of. But I can see that there will be long-standing partnerships and programs and facilities and resources that will extend beyond this COVID period. So in addition to, just surviving this long period of time, I hope that we can all realize some long-term benefits as well. So stay safe and thanks for your time.
Thank you, Brian. And we also want to thank your workers at HCCDC for those Fridays. I know that some of those days are pretty humid, and we appreciate all the manual labor. Chairman ordered me to put out a statement thanking Atlas and also the HCCDC. So keep up the good work, and we appreciate those deliveries and that distribution. At this time, friends and relatives, we're going to turn our attention over to Emily, the Communications Director for the Winnebago Comprehensive Healthcare Systems. Emily.
Thank you, Garen. So before we start the Q&A, I just want to remind everybody that we have new websites for the Winnebago Comprehensive Healthcare System. In addition to our Facebook pages, which is the Winnebago Public Health Department and South Plains Community Hospital Facebooks pages, you can go to winnebagohealth.com and it will direct you both to the health departments and the hospital's websites. Also, if you have any questions, please submit them to covid@winnebagotribe.com and we will answer them on our live stream next week, or you could drop them in the comment box below and we can do our best to answer them now. So these are questions that were submitted over the last week. The first question is in regards to 12 clans. The question asks, can we get an update on the number of docs hired? Do we still only have contract doctors? I'm going to direct that question to Danelle. I know she is disconnected from video, but I think she's still on the phone. Danelle?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Emily. Thank you for that question. So I'll just give a brief update on our current staffing for providers at 12 Plains Unity Hospital. In the outpatient department, we do have 4 permanent staff, full-time mid-level, and those are nurse practitioners or physician assistants. We also have 3 MDs who are permanent full-time. One is a podiatrist, one is a pediatrician, and the other one is a hospitalist who supports the inpatient department as well as sees patients in the outpatient clinic. And we do also have one other full-time hospitalist who is a contract provider. In the emergency department, we have 2 full-time mid-levels who are, one is a nurse practitioner and the other is a physician assistant. And we also have 2 part-time mid-levels who help support that work. In the emergency department, we also have 6 full-time MD positions, and those are currently filled by contract staff. So we do continue to evaluate and review our staffing plans throughout the hospital for providers, and we are continuing to recruit and figure out the best approach to make sure that we have long-term permanent providers who are committed to our community. And of the contract providers that we do have, many of them have been with us for quite some time, and so they have been able to get to know our community and our patient population. And like I said, we continue to work on that to make sure we have the adequate qualified staff to really provide quality healthcare for our community.
Great, thank you so much for that information, Danelle. The next question was in reference to the links or sources of information we use that are quoted in our updates every week. And I wanted to note for the community as well that we did start adding in those links you might have noticed on the PowerPoint. I don't know if they were cut off or not, but we can definitely share those for anybody who's interested. I will say that this week, Mona did add those to the PowerPoint, and they were both resources were from the CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services. So thank you, Mona, for adding those for that person that had that question. The next question is actually in reference to the public school. So Dan, I'm going to direct this question to you. Can you tell us where the safety protocols are for the public school, or if they're posted anywhere where they could be found?
We do not have them posted anywhere. We have them in our school building, and we follow them here for our students and staff. We can post them, and we will.
Okay, great, thank you. And then the second question for Winnebago Public School is about the enrollment forms. Do you know where those are available?
Right now, they're all in-house in our enrollment person's office, but we are working at getting them online. Just with the summer with the COVID and not being in the office, we did not get that done. So we're working on that. And as far as a separate form for homebound, the only thing that will be different will be the contract that the board will approve at Monday's meeting. There will be a contract for homebound students.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan, for that information. That wraps up all the questions we got this week. Again, if you have any questions for next week, you can email covid@winnebagotribe.com and we will address it next week. And as mentioned, stay tuned to Facebook this weekend. We will be doing a poll to name our new UV disinfectant robot, and there's lots of information and flyers regarding activities for August that will be posted on the Health Department's Facebook page. Thank you very much, and I'll throw it to you, Garen.
Hey, Emily, you remember the movie called Short Circuit? Can I put in my name for that poll there? Johnny 5 is alive. Can you officially submit that?
I don't know that reference, but I will take it into consideration.
All right, I appreciate it, folks. Thank you, all the people, and congratulations once again to the Little Priest Tribal College graduates and the Winnebago Public School graduates. This weekend, you know, one of the things that the health department really stresses is to maintain those masks and also social distancing. We have full confidence in the Winnebago Public School that tomorrow, when they welcome some of the parents as well as the graduates, that they'll go through the proper protocols to keep everybody safe. So with that, friends and relatives, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us at this week's COVID-19 weekly live stream update, and you folks have a good weekend and have the rest of the good day. See you next Thursday.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks. See you.